Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little lamb.
The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
All things Randi at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
If passed, the new bill would be the biggest emergency spending measure in U.S. history, sending aid to state and local governments, health systems, and a range of other initiatives. The relief package would also send a second round of stimulus checks to millions of Americans and include more funding for the Postal Service. Some parts aim to address the coronavirus pandemic in other ways, such as requiring passengers to wear masks on airplanes and public transit. However, according to the Washington Post, Republicans have already rejected the bill before even seeing it, describing it as a liberal wish list that would go nowhere in the Republican-led Senate.
Isn't that special? We're in the middle. We have 83,249 dead people, and we're going to add somewhere around 3,000 dead people to that total every single day through the month of August. And then we get into flu season. What could go wrong, right? And Mitch McConnell doesn't want to take up another relief package for you. Now, it's called the HEROES Act because this money that goes to state and local governments is the money that is used to pay first responders. It is the money used to pay firefighters and police officers. It is the money that the states need for testing and contact tracing, which Anthony Fauci told us yesterday in no uncertain terms is needed in order to open and not create a back to square one scenario with the spread of this virus. Everything that we were asked to do because they failed at containment. Oh, yes, that was the entire problem. No containment. It was a complete and utter failure because the tests that were offered were rejected and the ones that the CDC created failed, and they did not create anything in its place, nor did they take the World Health Organization's tests that they were offered while waiting almost 2 months for tests that still couldn't be administered because no swabs, because reagents are made over there, because the media that the sample is put into, short supply. And we're still living through this. And tomorrow you're going to hear testimony from Dr. Bright over at BARDA on this whistleblower complaint that I have been telling you about since Monday. And today is Wednesday. All right? And I read it over the weekend, and it's just hair-raising. All right, so what else is in this package? In this HEROES Act, $875 billion for the states and the local governments so that police officers, first responders, MTA workers on the subways, the people that are cleaning everything, so that they can get paid. And public hospitals too, right? So that they can get paid. $20 billion for tribal nations. Now, you know, the Sioux Nation is having their checkpoints even, criticized and argued in court. Oh, no, you can't protect. So it has $20 billion for tribal nations and for U.S. territories, $75 billion to ramp up testing and contact tracing, something everyone agrees is crucial to reopening successfully. It also has a set of mortgage relief payments, $75 billion for mortgage relief and $100 billion in assistance for renters. $25 billion to the Postal Service ahead of what is likely to be the biggest mail-in ballot election we have ever seen, even though 5 states mostly vote by mail. Almost every state is going to want to do that. And so $25 billion for the Postal Service, which Donald Trump does not want to have happen. He doesn't want us to be able to vote by mail because he said if we vote by mail, no Republican ever wins again. I don't know why he says that. It's just not true. A lot of Republicans, most Republicans, like to vote by mail. But he doesn't want the Postal Service. So he anointed he anointed the finance chairman for the Republican National Committee to be the new Postmaster General, to go in there and destroy the Postal Service. It also has $3.6 billion for elections, to shore up elections, to make them safe. There is another check for everybody for, if you make, this time it would be if you make less than, remember the last $1,200 check was you had to make less than $100,000. You could make $99,999.99, but not a penny more, right? But they want to do another round of those $1,200 checks instead of $100 being the cutoff. They wanted to cut off at $75,000, so you can make $74,999.99, right? But they also want to increase the payment for children. Instead of $500 for each child, they also want $1,200 for each child. They want $10 billion to go to small businesses who got gypped on the PPP, on the Payment Protection Plan. Hello. Hi there, everybody. Another $10 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program. And this is what I think McConnell is reacting. Oh, it's a wish list. Because you know what's in there? You know what's in there? Cannabis businesses. Cannabis. Yes, I'm talking the Mara Jane, the marijuana, the marahuni, the wacky weed. I'm old, okay? The Mary Jane business. The cannabis. Could now get expanded access to bank accounts so that they don't have to keep everything in a freaking cigar box, right? Bank accounts and loans. And you know what's amazing? One of the most successful businesses during the corona, cannabis. The cannabis business. You guys are out there. I know there's no tequila left in the store. There's just none. We had to buy, I never even heard of this brand, okay? I don't, but there's no tequila. And cannabis is, flying out the door. So they put in here the ability for these cannabis businesses to do banking. It also includes a little policy change in the tax code. Remember when they took away people who live in high tax states to deduct property and state taxes? They put like a cap, I think, of $10,000 on that. And there are people that live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, where their taxes, their property taxes are so high. The state taxes are so high. And they were capped, and people ended up, losing one of the biggest deductions for ordinary working people that was available. So they reversed that in this bill. They capped it in 2017 for ordinary people living in high tax states, right? And where did that money go? We found out. We always knew. But the blue states that are overtaxed, the money goes to the red states. We've already explored this. Anyway, so that's in there too. And there is a provision in here for the collection of hate crimes data. Not any legislation on hate crimes. No, just a collection of data. So that's why they're calling it a wish list. Because cannabis and hate crimes. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.